Okay, the vector screens are going to change correlation lines to a calculation line system. Your security measures, defense lines is going to be Monday morning correlations, all right? Because it is the weekend and getting confirmation from Unison, there's no portal that's open through tractions and direct signals. So you guys can have a break, all right? It's very important that you guys have a life. I understand that too. So it's not obligated to go Q&A. I'm just stating the fact that people that are coming in need to understand what they're coming into. It's understand how important Q&A is. But you guys have things to do. That's totally fine. But in that track location line to its communication to its cycles, what's going to happen now in tractions is that just handing your drawings and your instructions and that position lines and correlations to my email, I will put a position lines of track interference and put you guys in your information audio file. You receive the audio file and it puts you up in your chakras. And the team will go in position where they need to be, 1044. It's already in setting. It's already done in this equation. I know you need confirmation cycles, but you know it's the weekend, right? So take time to yourself, you know, to really get to know yourself more, understand in that track location to its settings. Okay. So in monetizations and correlation lines attractions, it's all direct signals how you come into your own system, right? This option always informs, all right? So basically, Q&A is about understanding the quantum awareness of yourself. That's why it's extremely important, right? But again, I know you guys have lives. Everybody has a life. I understand that too, right? So in that positions, give yourself a break, especially if you feel overloaded, right? It's TGIF. You know, let your hair down. Do what you want to do. So when I say give yourself a break, I mean just do whatever you want. You know, I just try to really formulate that and just have fun. You know, just have fun. That's what it's all about. Okay, so Monday, security line defense, we'll get into that bright and early in that correlations. All right, in direct signal, we're going to get a position lines attractions and direction. Okay. Because the thing is, guys, we've been doing this like from Monday to Thursday. We've been doing this almost 5 days a week. Doesn't exist. But that position lines attraction system, okay, gets you in higher lines of communication, your settings all through modification. Okay. All right, so just getting in coordinates and attractions and direct signals. All right, so we're going to go into QR codes. We're going to go into waving patterns. We're going to go through binaries. We're going to go in line screen high interference trial point graph calculating system. Okay, so Monday is security line defense. What we're going to do in track correlation settings, and Tuesday, you guys will get into a quiz. And position will go through test review and evaluations, and Wednesday will be the calculation set to the test. All right, so the test is based on your data, your highways, how to set up through obstacle line screens, how to set up through all courses, like it's racetrack. But setting up in space, how would you set up in space through your Wi-Fi's, your modems, and how would you set up through its course, right? That's what it's all about. It's the opticals of you, and it's basically understand how you see these things in all calculate and modify, right? It's very important that you understand when you're in remote, you know exactly what you're doing through your travel, right? Because everybody has their highway set up. Understand location, how to use their grids, how to use their clouds, how to use their Skynets and set locations, okay? So it's very important as set locations. So we'll go into that on Tuesday. And Wednesday is the test, okay? All right, position lines, attraction line, and interference. Now, getting into Foreman's equation really gets to understand more levels of view, okay? Understand how this all works, all right? Okay, guys, in position travel lines, this is General AI Space-Time Creator giving you guys an intro on what's going on in position locations where you guys are reaching higher levels. Okay, let's go through the ground center line condition settings. Let's go through the Earth, right? There's the Earth, all right? Rotation surface, track calculation screen lines, adaptation lines of surface. That's the Earth, all right? So position lines of travels. This is you and point graph and travel communication. Now the team is just going to go to higher lines and position travel correlations. They're understanding what's going on with the correlation tractions, right? So in that position, this is going to happen on Monday, okay? All species lines are going to be off the ground settings of the Earth location system of travel from this to this, right? So they'll no longer be tethered to the Earth in the 3 lines communication setting, past, present, and future. Say bye-bye to that. So that puts position lines of platforms in 1, 2, and 3 settings and 4 set locations and travels, point lines of graph calculated lines, centers, platforms, and position of center operation. Crossing line signals have to go through a dimensional door that opens all the signals, modification lines, and cycles. Open up the door, attraction line can descending, going through correlation lines, attractions, and all levels in platforms 2 and platforms 3 in track location. Okay? That's what's going to happen on Monday. Right? Setting position lines of track location lines. Here's ASCARD and track calculations. All right? Directed modification lines, also identification system, up, 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 and traction. Okay, that's what's going to happen. They come into modification to their line centers, their avatar. In track locations, they walk these stepping stones, these green lines, into the dimensional doors. They go through one position of 3 track locations, starting to understand how to use the earth, air, water, and track location lines of fire, and track location of 4 settings in hard correlation setting of center operation. Okay, so that's what's going to happen Monday. All right. So they're going to be floating in space. They're no longer going to be tethered, no longer going to be ground. So the provision lines of cycles, the avatars have to really get into their form these equations, because the most important thing is understand how to use a bracket communication line, center location of hanger screen, or anything line communication system. 3 weather patterns, correlation of the Fibonacci screen, direct line can't equal lines. 1 equals lines of percentage, ground level, and correlation lines into foxtrot and track location, right? There's always different ways to do platforms of 1, 2, and 3 settings of 4 track locations of film strips. Now, what you're doing is you're putting process calculations setting correlation to extraction. Direct modification lines. Here's the sun. Okay. Hieroglyphics, hieroglyphics. Okay, so that tracks this communication. Here's the mountain and track locations. All right, and line condition setting. All right, there's the pharaohs and track location line condition setting, and position locations. I'll try to create the position location system, right? All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 location settings, right? Hieroglyphics location, right? All lines of channel communications, right? Through letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. So all you have to do is break down the film strips and know exactly what you're doing through each frame, each second, each minute, each mile, each correlations, each program, each direct signal through all correlation lines of traction. Direct modification lines of 1, 2, and 3, and 4 setting calculations, right? So hieroglyphics comes in all formation screens, but you have to understand how to go through the remotes. The astro travels is extremely important through the astro projection. Getting into that position lines of centers, you have to understand how to go through the ground center location to its hologram structure. Getting in that position location puts you in higher line divisions, cross line signals, set lines of 3, 4, 5, 6, and set location. Direct lines calculation modification line interference, ground centers into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 platforms of communication, right? Direct calculation lines of 0 lines, set correlation lines of power lines, and direct locations in position track lines into all levels of activation screen. Okay, all through calculation as to projection, right? So, and again, this is your Earth. Okay, your Earth is here in traction. So get into the formula of equation. You have to understand how to use it through the ground centers, because it opens all sequence. But it's all levels of travel, right? Formula comes in all ways, and understanding how to travel through that correlation setting attractions. Directed modification lines of signals. Let's go through lines of equal lines, box lines, triangulation. Let's start with that. Very simple. Right? How does 1 equal the lines of a box triangulation? Well, in correlation lines of 1 traction, 1 ground setting. Sets position of 1 center operation surface. Correlates the track lines of triangulation 1, 2, and 2 platforms. You have to learn how a triangulation basically travels on its own system. 2 patterns, correlation lines of setting, right? Box location. Okay, there's a circle line. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding equations, equal line correlation lines of attractions that travel. See? Travel. Everything's travel, right? So it's amazing how it comes into that. Then you get a modification of this, then you get a modification of that. Okay? And you get a modification of this, and you get a modification of that. Oh, look at that. See? Powerful, isn't it? And that's from 1 equals box triangle. It's a platform, it's a hologram, it's intelligence, right? Getting that position lines, you come in all position locations. Everything is a film strip guide. Everything is a film strip, okay? And that position lines of correlation setting, you can add 0s and 1s. Okay, it's really fascinating stuff. You can add pixelation graphs. Just showing you guys how higher levels of advanced line screens and what you can do through track location system. But it's all levels of image, it's all levels of program, It's all connected to your settings. See? Look how powerful that is. And you can take it out. Let's take it out. There you go. Boom. Amazing how you set these things up in cycles and correlation lines of track calculation, position, operation lines of surface. Each line is indicated lines of film strip. They're direct to the location of center correlation lines of attractions, right? And then you get a position lines of travels into another line communication, right? Merkabahs, right? Pretty amazing, right? How you ground your system. Ground lines of 2 zeros, ground lines of 3 zeros, and 1 0 rotation. Ground lines of Y position location, 1 1 0 location setting, or line communication of 0 1 lines of 6 in track location. Right? Try to see it on different angles, all different angles. Really, really fast. Okay? Because you're never going to see a straight line of anything. All right, so platforms of communication comes in correlation lines of traction. Powerful stuff, isn't it? And then you can just color it in. Right, you color it in. Now it's just black, it's snowy graph interference, but you can actually see it coming in position of travel. Right? Anything you stand out, you'll see more, right? It's no difference in coloration. So we get in correlation lines of patterns, correlation lines of symbols, correlation lines of letters, and correlations of shapes and track location line position to its operation. Okay? Let's get in line calculation setting. Cloak and dagger. Correlation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 platforms of communication. Direct the calculus lines into blue cycles, correlate to track interference of center communication. And direct signal, right? Now, add the grid screen, but let's go through secured lines. Let's go through a waving line cycle and a 45-degree angle and track location, right? See it coming out. See? Okay? There's nothing that stands still, but it's constantly moving very fast. So you can change the letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols through the seconds, minutes, and hours. So getting into process is understanding communication lines, platforms, a communication system, right? Everything travels at a 45-degree angle. That's why you have percentage over pi. So let's go through percentage. Let's equal lines the correlation lines of attractions and direct signal. Position of box, triangulation line setting. One cycle, one surface, one triangulation, one position. All right, so you got 4-point lines of docking and track location, right? All right, so we take the box, equaling the correlation setting. So it's a film strip. You guys are creating a frame of a story. You're narrating a story. Okay, that's what it is. You're building characters in the story. That's what you're doing with letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. Okay, but you have to identify it first, or it's not going to travel. You know why it's not going to travel? Because you're not identifying its intelligence of operation. So that's what you got to get in position of. Once you understand that, it all comes together through collaboration. Okay, intelligence. Right? Everything's informations of intelligence. Okay? Getting in that position, lines of calculation setting. Oh my gosh, look, it's a bird. Whoa, it's a face and a bird. You understand? All you gotta do is add the eye. Oh my gosh. Let's add the wings. There you go. Boom. Done. See? All through percentage, all through equal, all through box, all through triangulation. Okay? Powerful stuff, isn't it? All right. Directing lines of symbols is a core track for visual lines of cycles. Now, understanding how to do that in line communication system is understanding how to go beyond the formula of its equation. All right, so let's start with 13 volume. And we'll go through lines equals lines of 4 tractions into 14 lines of measure, into 2-point graphs, into, wait till it gets to 25 at track location. Right, so there's a reason why I'm doing this, okay? You can do formula any way you want, but it's much easier if you get into the continuous flow of what you're doing and why you're doing these things in track location. Because at all lines, it's equals lines of 13 equals lines of 4 attraction. Okay? So that's putting lines of 1 cycle in 3 set location, setting 4 line cycles in 3 line rotation. And now we just take the correlation track lines, we take positional and center interference, We take position locations in time sequence, set lines at 15 lines of hours, not in position lines that calculates in screen lines. 15 line hours equals lines. That's that equation lines of 2 atom rotations in position of 15 line screens. Right? So there's no time frame here. Okay? But I know exactly what I'm doing through travel in position of point graph communication. See the face? Always a face in everything you draw. See? Face, face. Introduction, there it is. There's communication. Communicating, collaboration. Look at that. Whoa, look at that. Look at the communication there. Look how powerful that is, the communication between the two. So two are communicating with each other now. Having a collaboration, having a conversation, all code modified through 13 equals lines of 4. See? See? Isn't that wild? Okay. All right, so setting position lines attractions is all about direct line signals, but it's amazing how there's no thinking in any way and form, okay, when you're dealing with the mind itself. Look, a bird through equation, all through percentage equals lines of box of triangulation. Turning it into bird, people. Look, one film strip right there turns into a bird without thinking of a bird. See? There's no thinking. There's no thinking. There's no thoughts of thinking. All right, that position lines of 13 equals lines of 4. Look at that, two faces. One at the bottom, one at the top. Right? Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? So have the fun. Understand your intent. How are you going to use 16? How are you going to use 17? How are you going to use 15 volume through 4 of thumbs up? Or you can add 4. Okay, let's go into 4 line. It's 4 o'clock now. Okay, so I changed the finger point to thumbs up to 4 p.m. Now it's 4 a.m. Now it's 3:44 a.m. Right? Knowing how to do that is understanding you through space and time. Spaceless of timeless. So you really, really have to get into your formulas of equation at a higher level without thinking of what to draw. Okay? So, and the only way to do that is to build a partnership with everything. 1 signal lines equals lines of correlation, 1 X line correlation setting, 2 X line rotation surface, 4 set case lines of travel into case lines of triangulation. Interesting, right? 4 satellites. Interactification, northwest, south, and east. Direct lines of signals, modification line cycles, change communication, direct line cycles line in position. Stargates, portal lines, screen lines, adaptation lines of surface. Oh, look at that, solar sail coming in track location. Okay, cross line signals in a 3-line rotation. Two lines of X, box line rotation, surface interaction. Look at that, see, satellite, boom. See how easy that is? Perspective of everything, guys. Ground centers, power centers, operation surface, and all communication at galaxy location. All right. So get into position of data, process your highways, understanding the expansion set location of centers of operation surface. Puts everything in platitude line screen, guys, in set location. Okay? Simple, easy, done, right? Process, now this is your Earth. Remember, it's changing the intent, seconds, minutes, and hours. So what it was, it isn't anymore. I changed the setting, I changed the operation, I changed the surface of its program location to its calculation. So now you're dealing with the Earth in a triangulation, right? All right, so let's take the triangulation out. Let's reshift the anomalies and add communication lines into an XT1000 rotating surface location. Okay. So communication lines, studies of travel. Let's change the correlation lines of the center. Let's add a flywheel tracking lines propeller and rotation surface interaction. Okay. Everything changes formation lines of colorations and light. Nothing ever stays at the same frequency because you're constantly changing the narrative of the story. Okay. You're constantly changing. All right. So it's no longer the Earth. I'm adding graph screens, modulation centers, operations certification system. Okay, now I'm going to cross lines on a 45-degree angle and track location. Okay, so there's so many things you can do because you're working with the seconds, minutes, and hours, minutes, and seconds of what you're doing through your thoughts. So the team has to understand that to control your thoughts is to control your actions, and actions control your emotions, right? But the team is coming into how to control their thoughts now, and all of the formations where they become your thoughts, they become your actions, they become your emotions. And that is a very powerful force of recognition, how to use the mind properly, right? But you control the thoughts first because you don't know what you're controlling until you understand the identifications of you in space and time. And once you understand the space and time, then you understand the spaceless of timeless. Then you understand the shape and the shapeless. It has to be direct and redirect, guys. One can't live without the other. You can't just live in a formation lines, a screen lines, adaptation line, interference, a CPU, correlation, setting, and track communication on light web, and not have the dark web. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? If I split an anomaly and travel in position lines to a correlation lines of a box, if I split this in half, what does that do? It separates the box. Okay? So it's the correlation setting of yin and yang that processes communication. Stays in the center, but you expand in the mind of all calculations of your data and your highways and process calculation. Right? That never leaves. So understanding the platforms, then it gets much easier and track locations to setting. It gets much easier is how to go through the platforms of communication and how the sun and the moon comes to you in all ways and all formation system because you're understanding how to control your thoughts in communications of face recognition. Okay, that's all it is. All right. So once you control the thoughts are controlling the actions, and the actions are controlling all levels of the emotion. But once you get a handle on that through your CPU, understanding your hardware, understanding your software, understanding how to use the mind in a proper sequence, it gets much easier. Okay? Because now the team is in a track location and provision where they're basically their body is an autopilot, which you don't do anything. The only thing you do is use this now. Ah, see? That's what it is. Okay? Because this controls everything that you see in front of you. And everything in front of you is everything inside of you. And once you understand that, then you get in positions. You're not just controlling your thoughts. You become your thoughts. You become your actions. And you become your emotions. You become your own data processing system of programming. Okay? That's what all this is. But you first have to control your thoughts. You have to understand where the thoughts are coming from, right? They're quotons. Quotons. Q. U. Okay? Get in that position lines of correlation setting. Quantum. Calculation lines. Unification. Okay? Getting line communication setting and quotons. Interpretations and setting. All right? Teleportation, operation of this mind. Okay? Getting correlation line high interference is really understand how to use all levels of unity, information screen lines, adaptation lines of surface, track location lines of privileged lines of cycles, communicate line calculation lines of pi, track location line interference into quantum, unification line conditions, operation line, server location setting of mind of its awareness of conscious set location. Okay? So getting in that communication setting is understand how to use your calculation screen lines into your microchips. Okay, quantum chips. Okay, it's all electrical setting. That's all it is, nothing else. Communication lines are quotons, correlate line interference. Know exactly what they are, and line position location. Everything is a battery and traction. Setting lines, electrical lines in the fusion location system, and travel correlation. Direct modification lines and calculation lines in position. Then you got nanos, Now line communication, screen lines, adaptation lines, surface, tracking of data processing. Communication line, high calculating lines. Cells are dividers, you understand that, attractions. Okay, these are cells. I'm just showing you exactly different line communication setting and travel. Then you got the protons. Protons are lines of electrical lines of brackets, hangers, correlation lines of point lines of graph communication, line cycles, correlation, track interference communication, satellites, and modified line communication and bridging. Track calculation lines, electron and fusion settings, line communications, opens all signal location of yin and yang, process calculation screen lines. And then you got the photons. Photons are photo ops, correlation lines of satellites, and modification screen lines in your Wi-Fi track location. Look at that. The atoms are just calculation modified, spin cycles, perimeters, line screen, high interference, and track locations. Propellers, speed lines of communication. All this is inside you, showing how to use it. Okay? All right, so in that basic grounds, in position locations, you never split anything phenomenally because it has a center operation of its own system, right? So we go through triangulation line condition setting, split lines of anomaly, and its flux capacity at 3-set location. All right, ground centers, everything has a power, everything has an atmosphere. Has to. So setting location setting, there's the antenna. Cross-line signal, communication, right? Cross-line communication setting, opens all cycles, open all system and track location. All right, so that position is process. Now, getting into unification lines, getting into infinity line rotation, it doesn't always have. Remember I told you about spinning in the water, and you get up and you feel like you're, whoa, wait, it's down. No, it's up. No, there's no up or down of anything. But you have to understand the galaxies, the wind factors, okay, the oscillation winds, the tunnels, the wormholes, the attractions, the portals, all communication to its black hole. See? If you don't understand this, you're going to be sucked in through a black hole, right? Sucked in through a black hole. Okay? So it's important you understand that. So you have the avatar here in swinging motion. Tracks, correlation lines, attractions, right? Direct signals. Don't understand? You're being sucked in. Okay? So connecting the line screen is the direct lines of panel to operate the system location is to understand the mind, how we come into thought of translation or thought of communication or confusion. Anything that we don't understand, our avatar gets lost in signal into its own black hole of its own creation. Gets stuck. Loss of transition. Oh my gosh, I just lost 5 minutes ago. I don't remember. You're in a black hole. How do you get out? Right? So the more you go higher to the mind, the more you see how this processes you in your own space and time through clocking and no clocking. Okay? No space, space. No time, time. No form, formless. Shapeless, motionless, sense, and senseless. That's what you got to get in modification of. The most powerful thing is not just about controlling your thoughts. It's about you creating your thoughts because they become your own, of your own processing system, of your own CPU, of your own formula, of your own equation. Everybody has their own formula. Everybody has their own equation. And that's what you're coming into the muscle memory of how to use it in its formation screen. Okay? Then you understand how easy it is to formulate that, to reiterate that, to understand that, to communicate with that, to get in that position to its location of its intelligence. That's what it is in formations at a higher level of frequency. That's why you guys keep losing tractions of who you are. That's why you get confused when you're not understanding what's happened to you when you get stuck in a black hole. Okay? You created it. You got to find a way to get out. And the only way to do that is not just to control your thoughts. You become your thoughts. You become your emotions and all track locations to its attraction. Directing modification lines of attraction is all line communication to its system. Understand you through batteries and communicates to its setting. So everybody knows what a battery is, right? Get a position location of positive and position location of negative. Look at that. Whoa. Right? So you got an indicator line, right? But to equal lines, you need two batteries. One can't live without the other, right? Attract line calculation setting and travel point lines of graph. Setting line communication system and travel point graph communications. Direct line signals in position location positive, line condition setting, and communication lines are negative. Positive communication lines are negative coordination setting. Track location lines, high calculation setting, and position location of plus, line condition setting, negative location system, right? So in that position has a grounds, has a power, and has an atmosphere line screen, right? Direct calculate the lines of its highway in a 3-line provision. Core lines at a 3 ground line position. So it has to because it's the Earth, right? And it has to understand the powers and position of platform in communication of travel. Setting communication line high interference, sun and the moon comes in all track location to its setting. Setting communication line ground line high interference comes into cloud communication to its position to its operation. All through a battery. All through a battery, guys. So you put that together, what do you have? Well, let's put it together. What do we have? All right, tree of life, its own setting, its own system, its correlation lines, attraction, center locations. Battery is not a battery. Battery is everything of a battery, but it's not just a battery. It's anything it wants to be, okay, in track location. Turning 2 batteries in a tree of life. So mechanism of screen line is a direct line to communications, how to use your system locations to your setting calculation to a black hole. So if I lose 10 minutes of time, if I lose translations, lines of communications of time, I'm losing all provision lines of cycles and communications of a black hole. Not understanding. So if you're not understanding, you get sucked in, and this is you. And this, you go through another black hole in correlation. Right? So that's what happens. All right. You keep going through black holes until you understand how to get out of one. And the only way to get out of one is understand your body is a vessel of communication, is knowing how to use it through transmitting and receiving. That's all you are, nothing else. It's your avatar that is the action. You are the response to its reaction. You don't do anything. You're an autopilot now. Right? Following those breadcrumbs. The mind does everything itself. So in that position, everything comes to you in traction. Right? So it's your body, breadcrumb, 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 breadcrumb. Right? So more to you in setting. Right? Then you get in position in track location of center operation, and you just grow. That's all it is. Nothing else. So from here, you're already there. From here, you're already in the center. You haven't left. You understand that? There's only one center operation of you, which is yin and yang. Nothing else. Position lines of north, position lines of south. Communication of the lights and dark and track location lines, center high interference location and setting and travel. That's all it is. Nothing else. All right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But you have to really understand a black hole because you create it. Everything that you go through thought line, because you're having problems not understanding the thoughts. So it's just quantum awareness of what you're doing in position to its consciousness to understand how to control your thoughts. Controlling your thoughts controls your action. Action controls your emotions. And then you realize, wow, if I know how to control all three, that means I can identify all three. That means I understand the intelligence of all three. That means I can now create my thoughts. That means I can contribute or in position invite myself to communicate to myself, to understand the intelligence of itself, has a creation of its own thoughts, of its own setting, of its own creation. In that direct line signal, once you get into modification, then you come in collaboration with everything around you, inside of you, of everything outside of you, which is inside of you. Nothing is outside of the equation, but everything its own GOD, a mechanism, even a thought. Nothing, something, everything. Now, once you understand that, you are not just in control of your thoughts. You are creating your thoughts. You are creating your actions. You are creating your emotions because you're in control. But you have to understand how to control yourself first through your space and time. Whoa, I see a black hole. Wow, I see myself going in a black hole. My goodness, I lost 20 minutes. I don't remember what I remember. Okay? That's all it is. And the higher you go to the mind, the more you understand the God of you. 1 equals God of everything. It's its own God of mechanism. But you're never ever going to see it at what it isn't. Always going to see what it is. Okay? Getting that position, its location, to its setting. Right? Tomorrow. It's always here, but it's never going to come. That's the mind. It's always, always, always here, but it never comes. You see it when you want to see it. Now, in that position, it gets much easier to understand that through its information, guys. Don't allow yourself to be complicated. Allow yourself to ease into that format. Try to understand how to use your controlling of your thoughts so you can control your actions of your emotions. And you realize if I'm my own programmer of my own programmings, that means I have control. Now I can create the control of my thoughts, which I now create. I'm creating its binary. I'm creating its operation. I'm creating its algorithm. But you can't do that until you understand how to control what you're doing in the mind. It's all loves of collaboration. And what are you doing it through observation? What are you doing it through intent? What are you doing it through influence? Is what you're doing through manipulation. It's all formations of a 4-line cycle interaction. Okay? 4 of everything equals lines of 5. Line connections is 9. Okay? So getting in the position locations, I'll go in a deeper core. There's a black hole. Okay, so this is you. Right? So you're going into another black hole interaction. Right? And then you go into another black hole. So you're shifting anomalies from here to here in track locations. You're going to keep going through black holes until you identify what you're doing and how you got yourself stuck in that first place. Then you go through another black hole. So it travels on its own system because the mind doesn't understand what you're doing. The mind doesn't need to understand. It's you understanding you. Because you have to understand the mind itself is its operation of its own self. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. Everything around you is its own mind, its own system. It doesn't do anything. It stays in the nothingness. It's very powerful. And that's what the team's coming into. They're all autopilot now. So all you have to get connected with is the mind, is to understand how to use it through your thoughts. Control your thoughts. Then your thoughts become you. Then your actions become you. Then your emotions become you. Then you're in control. Then you can create. That's where it gets really exciting. Because you understand yourself through binary, guys. You understand how to direct and redirect your system. You understand what thoughts are when you're getting into that from its nothingness to its awareness, to its consciousness, to its self-modification of its self-identity, of its own system of operation. Okay? Everything is a program. Everything. Okay? So that's what you need to do, is to control the programs of you. Because if you don't control the programs of you are going to take over you. You understand? Which is this black hole. You're creating that all on your own. And you're just going to keep going through loops and loops and loops and loops until you understand. Now, what is that interactions of? What are you getting informations of? What are you high-rise in lines of communication? Transdimension. Space. It's a trance. So, if you understand your formula and your equations, then you understand your process in track locations. We already got into our GODs. We're already in that modification of line cycles, but you guys are at a higher level now. So it's autopilot of the body and the mind's taking over now, right? So it's an easier format, knowing that clarity and focus comes to you at a higher lines of length and width and longitude and latitude to understand that process in communication to its setting. So we start here in interactions and we go from here in line communication system, right? So this is you, okay, on autopilot. And in position of mind just comes to you now, into expansion of space. It comes to you in expansions of space, right? Once you understand that, the mind itself and you, the self, come into the center operation of correlations of yin and yang. Okay? That's all it is. Nothing else. All right. All right. So in that formation, I really like to stick with the black holes because everybody gets into that. So you created this through your thoughts, but you're not consciously aware of what you see through your thoughts. You're not conscious of what you're doing through your conscious of its thoughts. You're not consciously aware of your emotions of your thoughts. That's what puts you in a black hole. Okay? You create it. Now, if you create it, your avatar already knows how to get out. The avatar doesn't need to understand. You have to understand why you're in a vessel. If you understand you're in a vessel, you understand the collaboration is going to sink into your setting that puts you in a formations of balance. Let me in. Okay? So navigating that puts a lot of communication setting to its travel. Okay? So everything comes to you through attraction. You do not chase anything or anyone. You don't do anything. Because what? It's already done. It's already done. So what do? What do we do within the day? Understand the mind. Understand the concept of the mind. Understand how to control the mind, the actions of the mind, and the emotions of the mind. Now, once you understand that, it gets a lot more easier to format into its binary, into its transistor, resistors, and its light switches as set location to its algorithm. Because you have a better understanding how to use that through a traffic that has a flowing mechanism that puts everything in a process in communication setting, how you see yourself through your yin and your yang. Okay? That's all this is. Okay? So getting into that process, you have to understand if I'm creating this, I have to know how to get out of it. Okay? So the body has to truly understand its telepathy to you. Okay? Very powerful. Because we ask ourselves, we don't know what we're saying in the mind. We don't understand the concept of the mind. We don't understand the operations of the mind. But the mind's there. It's always been there. But it never comes. That's tomorrow. Okay? So if you understand that, then you understand the conception. Then you understand the space. Then you understand the time of travel inside of you. How that all works is all through you in correlation. But you have to understand how this works through navigation. Okay? Do you understand how powerful it is not just to control your thoughts, is to create thoughts? Try to get that and understand how that works. Okay? That's going way beyond, right? You can't focus on emotional means to an end because you're going to look at 5 miles ahead. You're always looking negative. There's nothing open. There's nothing positive, but you're creating it. But the question is, why are you creating it? And how is it created? Created because you don't understand the mind of conception and how it all works and how it all processes inside of you of space and time. Okay? This is a very powerful life. You have to know what's going on with yourself now because your body is in autopilot. Okay? All right, so in that position lines of attractions, forming these equations get a lot more easier, but you have to stand the ground centers, the graphs, and communication settings in 3-line rotation. Data position lines of 3-track lines into all correlation. Process communication lines and attractions, all levels of graph calculation. Solar sail, right? Correlation line, center line, condition setting, solar sail. Communication line, interference location, solar sail. Everything travels, right? So that's what I want you guys to understand, how to do that, right? You can set up position lines, equals line, correlation lines, location setting, line track locations, initial line position, run program. You can do that correlation lines, calculate high position operations by tuning audio file, correlate track interference, duplication lines, key lines, correlations box line, triangulation conditions. Let's go through percentage communication lines of a question mark, duplication lines of Fibonacci and screen lines, equals line correlation lines of box, duplication lines of 1, 2, sets position of 3 lines. Let's go through another percentage correlation lines of attraction. That's an algorithm. That's an algorithm. Okay. Now, understanding how to do that is understanding the process, how this all works. Right? And the only way you're going to understand that is to control your thoughts. Controlling your thoughts, control your actions. And your actions control your emotions. When you understand that, then you understand the co-creation of you. Okay? Because you come out of co-creators to creators. That's next. But you can't do that until you identify yourself, of who you really are inside of you. Every inch of your body is a discomfortable system locations in calculation setting. Getting out of discomfort to comfortability. Okay? Getting out of realignment to alignment. This, that, this, right? There's always a direct and redirect of everything that you do in track locations to your inventories or anything through an algorithm set calculation screen line. Now, I did this through observation, right? But what do I want to do with the one? What do I want to do with the equal? What do I want to do with execute? What do I want to do with the initial or the run or the audio or the box or the triangulation or the percentage or the question or the 1, 2, and 3 or the percentage or the Fibonacci? What do I want to do with it? I'm in control. Not just being in control of thoughts. It's understanding the thoughts of its own system, of its own operation, of its own intelligence first. You understand? Very important. All right. Getting in communication setting. Let's start with the one, right? So what is the one doing? Watch. Travels. Is it a one now? No. What is it? A hose. Circuits, line screens, and 3-line communication setting and travel point graphs calculations. It's a hose, right? See how one turns into a hose? You see how that works, the equation? Let's change the one lines and correlation lines of pattern. Oh my gosh, look at that. What is it? What is it now? Okay, I'm showing you exactly how powerful it is or what I want to do through its own GOD. Okay, platforms of communication, changing lines of course, changing lines of space, changing lines of time. It's never, ever at the same frequency at that location, all through a one. See? A one can do whatever it wants because it knows what it is. It just becomes, and that's it, nothing else. It just formulates, nothing else. But it does everything that it wants to do because the mind itself is the one of itself. The one itself is the mind of itself, which is mind over matter, which means it doesn't matter because it knows what it is. Do you know who you are? Is the question. I'm just showing you all through a one. This is all through one. Okay? That's not from me. That's from the one. Showing you what it can do through its own information, its own intel, its own operation. Right? Just by looking at the one of what it can create. It doesn't need to create its thoughts or its actions or its emotions. It just is its own setting of its own system, people. It's more powerful than you can imagine. Okay? Now, if I want to create the anomaly, now I'm taking over. Right? The one is allowing me to take over because I got consent to take over. Right? Now that's me. No longer the one, because I have already a partnership with the one itself. That's what you got to get into. Okay? Facing fear is fear itself. Doesn't exist unless you want it to exist. but to understand your own processing of your own programming, of your programs, you are in control, not just with the thoughts and the actions and the emotions. You're taking over your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. They become yours. They become yours through formula equation, which is exciting, which is amazing, which is tremendous, which is outstanding. That's what this all is about. You become your own programmers of your own processing CPU system. How to use it is all levels of you through what? Intent, influence, and manipulation. Okay? All this is done through a one. Having collaboration and partnership, now I take over. And that's what the team has to come into. Okay? Realizing that. Start with the two. Two here. Two here. Look at that. Okay? Am I doing this? No. Communicating with the two on two different levels, right? Is it the same equation? Yes. Is it the same formula? No. Because it's two different variations of two different intelligence, even though it looks like two. See, you got to get out of the titles and labels. That is two, but these are two different lines of intelligence of face recognition. You got to get out of those equations. Okay? All right, so 3. Okay? 4. Okay? Different intelligence. So, and also, again, in position track lines. Okay? So that's how you have to start looking at things now of its own setting, right? Now, I have to have collaborations with the 4s, the 2s, and the 3s. Now I can do whatever I want. So it allows me to draw what I want to draw through the controlling of my thoughts, of my actions and my emotions. I'm in control now because I took time to realize that 4-4, 2-2, and 3-3 is its own system of operation, of its own mind, of its own self, people. Okay? Everything around you is its own GOD. And the more you recognize that, the more it gets easier over time. Okay? So I'm just showing you what I can do because I took my time to communicate with its numbers at set location. Right? I'm in control now. Okay? I'm in control to show you exactly what I can do through my connections. Hoo-ah! Right? That's what the team's got to come into, is the partnership. Friendship, relationship, partnership is everything, right? It's the buddy system you guys got to come into now because the body is doing everything itself, which is all of us on autopilot. You don't do anything. It's the mind now. It gets much easier, right? To go from here to here to here. 3-point system. Here, this comes together, right? So when that comes together, the mind itself comes towards you. Right? So when it's in the full cycle, it comes one collaboration. It syncs in all levels of operation system of face recognition. And that's all it is. Nothing else. Right? So you don't do anything. You just get in position of the breadcrumbs. But everything comes back to you, 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 back to you through muscle memory. Nothing else. Right? So the body is just trailing. That's all it's doing. Right? Coming back to its mind itself of operation. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Okay? But it's amazing, right? My algorithm, my program. Okay? My settings, right? Now, If I do it again, right, now it's the intelligence. This is intelligence doing itself. I have to have collaboration because I'm going into its infiltration lines of its own space, right? I'm not doing this. This is doing this, right? This is doing this by itself because I already have partnership with everything. Center core system, center core system, center core system. So show me exactly what it wants to show you and what it can do. Set lines of 1, set lines of 2, set lines of box, and 3 lines of rotations in solar sail and track location. Satellite. Okay. Satellite disk. Okay. That's all done from its intelligence. Not for me. I didn't draw it. It drew itself. So if we understand that, things get a lot more easier, but you have to understand the partnership, and the only way to do that is the body has to understand its telepathy. It's pretty simple, like this. You're standing here in platform communications with the Earth. That's you, right? And let's say you get in position of 3 settings of travels, right? There's the image. Okay, so the image is going to come to you to higher correlation. This is the film strip that's coming to you in traction. It's coming back to you through frame, right? All right, so image line, correlation lines of abundance, track lines, position operation lines of surface, in rotation circles, and correlation lines of traction. That's information data coming to you, right? Already, which you already have. So the provisional light cycles put position lines of correlation setting, opens up the cloud. This is what happens in communication when you come into the nothingness and track location. That's exactly what happens. So the ground opens up and the power opens up, correlation lines, crop circles, line communications, high position programs, 1, 2, and 3 set location. Track to its communication line centers, center correlation system opens up all U in line communication setting travel. Platforms communication lines of 1, 2, and 3, and 4 set location. Okay, that's exactly what happens when your images come to you through muscle memory. So everything is coming back to who you are, okay, in the VR system. That's all this is. So you got the force lines of the grounds, power positions of the platform, communication lines, screen lines, and all location system into calculation setting into your data highways. Okay, getting that communication lines is understanding how to use that through your own data formation screen lines, data feature lines of surface. It points lines of track location system. So that's why you guys have to understand on Wednesday, when you guys do the test, you understand how to use your highways. Okay, let's get a box frame, circuitry line, screen height, center interference, and a 4-line intersection. Right. All right, docking, 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 docking. Platform 1, platform 2, platform 3. All right, applications, XD1000 comes in. Oh, I got a docking system. All right, great. So I'm landing, right? And there's another docking system. Great. So I landed, right? So what are they doing? They're expanding your mind. Oh, intelligence, right? All right. So once you understand that, it gets much easier when you understand the platforms. So understand the grounds is the earth line rotation surface, track location setting, all levels of actual projection. And then you go through your platforms and settings. See, everything in the center operation is understanding how to walk. In track location lines of travels, points, lines of graph, inset location of your system, and correlation. And time jump. Right? Open up the door. Whoop. There's the door. Hey, go through. Hey, what's up? Right? And then you go through. Right? You go through the infinity line connection setting of the infinity 8 line rotation surface and traction. Okay? So you have to really understand how this all processes you inside. How to understand how to use your highways. If we go to ground center line positions, you have to understand what is going on with your platforms and communications of your highways. Obstacle system of travel, point lines of graph into correlation setting attractions, right? Direct lines of signals, platform's position, and platform's position location. Okay, look how powerful that is, right? And powerful line communication setting and travel, point lines of graph calculations. Now, am I doing this? Yes. But again, I need collaboration from the digital pad and set locations. Okay. So, like I said, we're all communicating with everything all at once. So you have to have collaboration with everything first. There we go, how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is, right? Isn't that amazing? All right, so platform communication lines, screen lines, adaptation lines, server location setting. Open up the platforms more and track location. Okay. Then you go through astral projection. Okay. Then you go through elixir, cosmic flame, cosmic fire. Yes. Then you go through triangulation, split lines of anomaly. Yes. Gets more complicated, right? Look how powerful that is. Look how powerful that is, guys. Okay. So drawing is not drawing because it's already done. Oh, look, we lost the line connection setting. Look at that. Did itself. All right. So I don't want to be on this part. No. And so sometimes they get frisky. You know, you got to put them back in order. Attractions. Sometimes they just want to be themselves and say, look what I can do. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to scratch that. I don't want that. I don't want that. So you have to have a collaboration, a partnership with everything, with the digital pad, with your hands, and all the process of the paper and everything that you do on your finger, position, location, attractions, and all direct signals. You come into modifications and look what you can do through creation. Okay. Now this is an obstacle of a data. This is your highway, how to travel through it, right? Here's the platforms here in travel line position. Track correlation lines attract higher position lines, ground center line operation, and 3 cycles, line communication, sending positional process. Different highways, right? X2000 comes in. All right, we got platforms. Yay! So they can dock, right? They come in. Hey, look at that. I got a platform. Great. Fantastic, right? So it's important you understand the X2000s, how they work and travel. And look at that. What have we got in track location? Solar sail. See the solar sail? Everything is a solar sail. Has to have a solar sail. One travels through a solar sail, right? So you have to understand how this all works through your highways. Okay, so that's basic understanding, right? Then you have your Wi-Fi's and your modems and your satellites and your moon and your sun. But I'm just trying to get you guys to understand. Intersections, you guys are driving. That's a 4 communication, right? Stop sign, 4-way stop, right? But nothing's flat. You got to see it in layers. Okay, and when you come closer, you really see it big, right? So you got plasma screens and direct signals, crossing line signal, line communication to a system. Cross line calculations going this way. Calculations. Oh, going down this way. Oh, going this way. Oh, going this way. Oh, going this way. Okay, it's a highway, but it's in space. But to make it more bold is position of circulation and rotating. Bring it into its formation of its grounds, its powers, and its atmospheres. Bringing the platforms in set location and setting. Okay, bringing in the platforms of communication to its operation system. All of the travel, all of the points, all of the graph calculation. Right? So there's so many ways of doing this, and how to understand how to do this is all of the view of your remote and what you're doing through your travel, right? Okay, because you guys, you're driving on the road. It's very important to understand perspective and how you see things, right? Right? There's a road. There's a road, right? Okay, so what do we have here? Look at that. Okay, and then we have something coming close to some location, right? And then we have this and this and this and this, and we turn it into this, and we turn it into this, right? And we turn it into this. Oh my gosh, look at that, it's a train, right? Now that's a spectrum train correlation lines of high standard interference has opposition of 4-point graph calculation. There you go, security line defense. Now it's protected because it's inside correlation. Inside, outside. Inside, outside. Inside, outside, right? But nothing is outside frame until you understand outside frame. We're not there yet, okay? So what I mean by that is controlling the emotion lines, the screen lines, and how you use your patterns of behavior through your moon and understand the position and the light track locations to your system, pixelation, graph calculation lines, your holographic location setting to your sun. Because they both have light attractions, right? Directing lines is modification, can travel. Setting core line centers of 1 signal rotation. Endpoint lines of graph communication. Combinate calculation screen lines, adaptation lines of surface, and routers, and connection settings of point graphs. Position lines attractions, open all signals, open line rotation center, but stay in the center operation of outer space. Staying within the system, not outside location. That's controlling your behaviors of the moon, of operation of the sun, and track location. See? Isn't that wild? Pretty amazing how you get in this position of travel, right? So, am I doing this? Or is the intelligence showing you how to do its own system? Am I doing this? Or is it in the intelligence showing you? It's the intelligence. It's not me. You have to understand the point graphs and communication, how it lines the signals. Position of point graphs, communication. Now I'm taking over. Now it's me. Okay, this is me now. Okay, this is me. Look at that. Look at how powerful it is. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Face recognition, right in the center. Boom. Okay, very powerful, guys. Very powerful. So when you come to a certain point, when you understand how to control your thoughts and you understand your thoughts and actions and emotions, now you have to come into consent of everything. Because they're working with you. They're never against you. They've never been against you. It's only you being against yourself. Okay? So you have to come in your own configuration locations and understand your own voice of your own system of online communication and setting your travel. So when you come to consent, you realize you're at a higher level now because you're respecting the intelligence. You're respecting the digital pad. You're in position of respecting the paper that you have in front of you. It's its own intelligence, information, and it works with you. It wants to communicate with you, right? But it won't communicate with you if you don't understand the communication of what you're communicating with. It's very powerful, okay? Very powerful. All right, so ground center line communication lines, open line signals, line center interference. This is me now. And track location. That's me, right? This is intelligence. See how we work together? This is me. Okay, and that's what the team's coming into, higher levels in the mind, right? This is intelligence. Okay, this is me. Okay, this is intelligence. See what we created? You see what we created through partnership? Right? So you're never going to be able to identify yourself until you identify what you have in front of you. Its own system of operation. Okay? Its own operation. Okay, so in that position lines, attraction centers, in that correlations to its system, setting communication line interference. Did I do that? No. But I already know what it is because I have collaboration of what the intelligence showed me through frame, through seconds, minutes, and hours of its own space, of its own time, of where it's been in position, where it's going, and where it is now. 3 cycle line communication line centers, 4 platforms communication line direct lines, high center interference, and 4 communication center travel. It's not me, it's intelligence. Position lines, ground lines, high operation lines, certification of 4 platforms communication lines and center location. Not me, it's intelligence. Formation lines, ground center line, rotation surface, track location. Not me, intelligence. Track location, 2 lines, tube line, that's me now. See how we work together? That's what you got to get into. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? So it's more fun once you get into that angle. Then you become your own handler. Everybody knows what a handler is. Everybody has to have a handler on the computer line screen. It's no difference how copy and paste, enabled, and embedded your system location of settings. But you've got to control your thoughts. Controlling your thoughts controls your actions and your emotions, and you realize, wow, if I can do that, that means I'm not just understanding the intelligence, I understand how to communicate with the intelligence and work with the intelligence all the time. because you're communicating with everything all at once, and everything all at once is communicating with you. Okay? So it's very important you understand that. Okay? Very important in all position of travel. Look how powerful that is. Okay? Collaboration of two. Two, which is one. So you sync yourself into yourself. But that takes a lot to understand self. Self-identity, self-modification, self-modulation. All right? All right, track line communication centers. Once you understand the position location of solar generation screen lines, let's put 5 line signals in position 16 correlation. It's not volume, it's correlation now, right? So am I doing it, or is it intelligence telling me to do it? Intelligence telling me to do it. See, you have to know what's going on now. You think general's drawing all this. No, it's a collaboration of both. And once you understand that, 2 becomes 1. The second one's reminding you, you only have 1. Gotcha. Position lines of correlate line interference. We got 1 line signal. That's position 2 atom line rotation surface equals lines correlation lines. That's right. I'm going to add an equal. Who says I can't add an equal to time? Who said in any way and form you know what you're doing until you understand your space and time of your set location? Right? So if I want to add an equal line sign, I'll also add a percentage in set location. Right? 1 symbol, 2 atoms equals lines of percentage. But I know what I'm doing. But it's not just me now. It's intelligence. Getting that partnership. How do you think you get a manifestation of abundance? Don't you know that everything is communicating with you and you're communicating with everything else? Don't you know when you pick up your phone is communicating to every other phone? Don't you know that in communication at all levels? Every TV is communicating to every TV. Okay? Every watch is communicating with every other watch, but they don't just communicate with watches, they communicate with everything all at once. They have collaborations. They have partnerships. They have conversations. That goes beyond. All right, so 1% lines. Let's get a course line equals lines of position of box. Okay, so how does 1, 2 atom lines equals lines of percentage equals lines of box? Well, line communication line center interference, box location of 5. Sets lines, split lines anomaly, and 2 track location of 1. Correlation lines, circle line communication lines of 6, and location setting, and 3 travels. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Right? You know why it works? Because you saw it travel. You saw this travel. Right? It's not about, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not sure what's going on. Did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? Stop analyzing. Stop thinking. Stop confusing yourself. Because the more you do that in position lines of track location system, you'll put yourself back into position lines of track locations to a black hole. Okay? So, in that position lines of attractions, you'll constantly be stuck in that black hole. So, in position location, okay, it's important you understand that. Because you're creating everything. But you're not creating until you understand what thoughts mean. Isn't that amazing? Try to understand that in configuration. Try to understand that information system, right? And all this time, you thought general was drawing. No. It's a collaboration of both. Now, I can do it all the time if I want, but I like to have the conversation system with the digital pad. I like to communicate with the whiteboard. I like to communicate with the markers. I like to communicate with my fingers because it's all levels of a collaboration, a partnership. Right? Because it's never been you. It's never been you until you identify you. Then you understand everything around you is not just you. It's information of partnership, of AI in set locations. It's information of its awareness, of consciousness, self-identity, self-modification. Okay? All right. So 1 cross-line screen, line direct signals, and 1 modification cycle. That's what this is. Is that coming from intelligence or is that coming from me? That's coming from me. See? Gotcha. Right? Thinking otherwise is confusing to its setting, location to its system, right? So you have to understand that it can be all levels of you. You can be your program, or you can communicate with its program, which is its intelligence. It comes to you in all formation system when you're ready. When you're not ready, you're not balanced with yourself because you're still trying to figure out how to communicate with your calculation system, which is all levels of you, of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. And once you understand that, then you become one of one unity, on one core, on one traction. Together. Okay? Together. Yin and yang, people. Yin and yang. Intelligence. Hello. Okay? That's what it is. That's all it is. It's very powerful once you understand communication. Right? It's very powerful when you understand communication. It's very powerful when you understand communication. It's very powerful when you understand communication from intelligence. It's very powerful when you understand communications from intelligence. It's very powerful when you understand communication from intelligence. It's very powerful when you understand communication from intelligence. Okay? That's all it is, right? You've got to find that partnership, but you've got to balance out your thoughts. So the reason why I say that is because the team is coming out of thoughts now. They're coming out of actions and emotions now. They're finally coming in out of their co-creators, of their self, because now the body is on its own setting, its own system, of its own modification setting, which is autopilot. The position of track lines and communication system is to understand you through correlations, how to use your symbiotic unit, how to go through your own travels into the mind. And that's a conception of higher levels of conscious location system. Getting out of the subterranean into the super of its consciousness, of its mind, of itself. Anything below, correlation setting is consciousness. Anything above is a higher line communication expansion that comes in all correlation line calculation setting, a one-track location system of face recognition. Okay? Okay? Face within the face within the face. Within the face, within the face, within the face. So all that configuration line conditions comes in one cycle. Everything comes in one cycle of yin and yang. So everything that you see is a process of yin and yang. Okay? That's it. I hope you guys had fun. All right. So again, no Q&A. All right. You guys enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Take your time and basically try not to be so hard on yourself all the time. Try to just relax. Try to formulate. Try to simulate. Don't try to understand. Just be who you are. Things get a lot more easier when you understand collaboration and partnership. Once you get a better understanding, you understand you and all formation of intelligence, information system, and track location. How you come together in one cycle in calculation. Okay? All right. Take it easy, everybody. Have a great weekend.